Where'd you get it?
Mom gave it to me. It's from the new fridge. Want to help me make it into a castle?
No way, not a castle. I want to make it into a fort.
I know. Let's do something really different.
Yeah, that's a far-out idea. Let's do it.
I'll get the stuff so we can fix it up.
Why do we need all that foil?
That's our heat shield. Hand me the tape. Where's the glue?
Over there. I'll cut out some windows.
Remember, don't run with the scissors in your hand.
Hi, kids. What are you making?
We're not telling. You'll have to guess.
There, it's all done. What do you think, Mom?
Wow, you kids have done a wonderful job. It's beautiful. But I still don't know what it is.
Mom! It's a rocket.
We're going to fly to the moon.
And Mars, and Jupiter, and Pluto.
And the stars.
And all around the universe.
Millions and billions of miles away.
Well, if you're only traveling millions and billions of miles away, I'm afraid you won't get much farther than the planets of our solar system.
Aww!
Oh, come on now. Visiting the planets will be a lot of fun. And besides, I don't want you going too far from home.
Mom, can we spend the night outside in the rocket?
Well, the weather looks okay. Sure, you'll have a lot of fun. Just be sure you have everything you need.
Wow!
Have a good time.
Thanks, Mom. Well, we'd better get the supplies and load them up. Gummy bears?
Check.
Helmets?
Hey, that's my football helmet.
We'll need it for the trip. Sleeping bags?
Check.
Onboard computer?
Hey, that's just an old shoebox.
Yeah? Well, every rocket ship needs a computer. Air supply?
Check.
Be careful with those balloons. That air has to last us all night. Astronomy book?
Check.
I guess that's our supplies. We're ready to go exploring the planets.
Aye, aye, Captain.
Close all the hatches and start the countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Blast off!
Wow, how did you make those rocket sounds? They sounded real.
Me? I thought you were making those sounds. Wow! Look at all the stars. I've never seen them look that way before. What's happened to us?
Open the book.
Did you hear that? It sounded like it came from the book.
Open the book.
It did come from the book. Quick, open it.
Thank you. Oh, that's ever so much better. Allow me to introduce myself. I am the Student's Astronomy Guide, 172 pages, wonderfully illustrated with full-color photographs and containing a complete index and glossary.
You're the what?
I'm the astronomy book. Don't you remember? You checked me out of the library last week.
Books don't talk.
Well, I do. Now then, about our trip through outer space. I think we'll be fine if we're careful not to get too close to any of the planets.
But how? This is only a cardboard rocket. How can we be traveling through space?
Now that's my secret. But I do need your help. Are you ready?
We're ready.
Good. I must say, you two did a first-rate job with our launch. Most impressive. So, where would you like to go?
We wanted to see the whole universe, but Mom says we can only go as far as the planets.
Very sensible. Yes, very sensible indeed. Planets of our solar system. If you were going to explore the solar system, where would you begin?
At the sun. It's the middle of our solar system.
That's not a planet. Besides, it's extremely hot there. Not really a pleasant place at all. I would highly suggest against it.
Well, I really want to check out the sun. Prepare to approach the sun.
Aye, aye, Captain.
Well, fine then. Just be careful. And don't get too close. Now see? What did I tell you?
Don't worry. It's not that hot. Why is the computer giving us a warning?
It's because the sun is so bright. My teacher says you should never look directly into the sun because it will hurt your eyes.
Your teacher is right. You should never look at the sun. If you want to see the sun, you'll have to look at the pictures on my pages. Now then, where to begin? Sun, sun, sun. Ah, yes, page 17. Here we are. The sun is a giant ball of hot gas. It is the biggest, heaviest thing in the solar system. The sun is so large that if it were a tennis ball, the Earth would be the size of a grain of sand. We must be careful to keep a safe distance. The sun is extremely hot. In fact, the sun is so hot that if we get too close to it, it would turn our rocket ship into gas. Did you know that the sun is a star just like the other stars you can see in the sky at night? The sun is the star we know best. Can either of you tell me why the sun looks so much bigger and brighter while the other stars look so much smaller and dimmer?
Is it because we're closer to it?
That's right. The reason our sun looks so big and bright is only because we are so close to it. If our sun were as far away as all the other stars, then it would look dim and small too. The sun is over 1 million times bigger than Earth. In fact, the sun is so large and its gravity is so powerful that it keeps all the planets in orbit around it.
Warning, warning, change course. We're getting too close to the sun.
I knew it. I knew it. I should never have agreed to go to the sun. If anything happens now, it's not my fault.
The computer's right. It's time to leave this fireplace.
No, wait. There's so much more to see. Storms on the sun and flares.
Well, there are still planets to explore. We need to move on.
So now can we go to the first planet from the sun?
Fire the rockets!
Roger, ready to move out.
Are you sure this is the first planet? It looks just like the moon, and it's gray and it has craters all over it.
I'm sure I've found the right place. Let's check the book.
Thank you. Yes, we are at the first planet, the one closest to the sun. I'll bet you don't know its name.
It's Mercury.
Exactly. Mercury is the closest planet to the sun, and you're right. It does look like the moon, just a little bigger. Both are covered with craters and have no air. Mercury has the shortest year in the solar system. It only takes 88 days to travel around the sun.
I bet Mercury gets hot from being this close to the sun.
You're half right, half wrong. When a side of Mercury faces the sun, it gets very hot, hotter than molten lead. But when it is facing away from the sun, it gets cold, colder than the coldest day at Earth's North Pole. That's cold enough to freeze us solid.
Wow, that's a crazy planet. It's always either too hot or too cold.
Right now, we are near the daytime side of Mercury. the temperature is as hot as an oven. We should be leaving now.
Warning, warning, high temperature alert. The book's right. Let's go before we burn up.
But we can't leave now. It says in the book that Mercury has strange heels and gigantic craters.
We really need to get going. Fire the rockets!
Roger, we're on our way.
Hey, this second planet is pretty cloudy.
Correct. And if you thought Mercury was crazy,
Venus is even stranger.
how did you know that?
I predicted the next page.
Well, it's so cloudy, I can't see a thing.
We can't see the surface of Venus because the entire planet is covered with thick clouds. Venus is only a little smaller than Earth, but Venus is quite different from it.
I wonder what it looks like under the clouds.
Well, let's just say that Venus is not a very nice place to visit.
But I want to see what it's like down there. Let's put on our helmets and prepare to land on Venus.
I really wish you wouldn't do that. It would be a very dangerous thing to do.
Lights on, landing gear down. Here we go. Wow, Venus looks spooky.
And dangerous. The air on Venus is much thicker than on Earth, so its air pressure will crush our rocket. Not only that, the clouds and air trap heat from the sun. It gets hot. Venus is even hotter than the hot side of Mercury.
Warning, warning, temperature alert, pressure alert. The rocket is getting too hot and is starting to collapse. We've got to get out of here or we will burn up and be crushed.
We can't leave yet. There's so much more to see. It says in the book that Venus has volcanoes and canyons.
The computer's right. It's getting too hot and our rocket is only made out of cardboard. Quick, start the countdown and let's get out of here. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, blast off! Wow, that was exciting.
We really need to be more careful. Some of these planets can be very dangerous. Now, this third planet looks much better. See if you can tell me what planet is next after Venus. Huh? No peeking at my pages. I'll give you a hint. This next planet is about the same size as Venus, but it's not nearly as hot. Water covers most of this planet. Water also makes clouds, which cover about half the planet, and frozen water makes ice caps that cover the north and south poles. Have you got it yet?
That's just Earth. We already know all about the Earth. We live there. We're here to see the other planets.
Are you sure you know all about Earth? Earth is a very special place, you know. It's the only planet that we know of that has books. And as you know, books are truly amazing things.
Wait a minute, that's not the only thing that makes Earth special. Earth is the only planet we know of that has life.
Well, that's true enough. Both books and life are truly amazing. The air on Earth allows plants and animals to breathe. And the air and oceans also help to keep the surface from getting too hot or too cold. What a truly awesome planet we live on. The thing to remember is that all life on Earth needs food, water, and warmth in order to survive. In a way, Earth is like our rocket ship. Do you know why?
Is it because it goes through space like our rocket ship?
That's right. And like our rocket ship, it must carry all the supplies it needs to keep all the plants and animals and people on it alive. Earth has a partner as it travels through space. This smaller world is called the Moon. While Earth has air and many things living on it, the Moon has no air and no life.
Cool. Let's explore the moon. We've got our whole lives to explore the Earth, but Mom only gave us tonight to explore the solar system.
You're right. Let's go to the moon. But I'm gonna explore the Earth when we get back.
All right, the Moon it is. But I'm warning you, it's not a very safe place. It's not made out of cheese. There are no cows jumping over it. There's not even a man in the Moon. Unlike Earth, the Moon doesn't have any air. The Moon is also quite a bit smaller than Earth. It's about the same as comparing a baseball to a basketball. Did you know that the same side of the Moon always faces Earth?
Helmets on. Prepare to land on the moon.
Hey, wait! I just told you it's not safe there.
All right. Who did that? Who closed me up? Open me up right now.
Right on! We've landed on the moon!
Let's go outside and walk around.
Stop! Wait! Don't go out there! Open me up!
Oh, that was close. You can't go out there without a spacesuit. When astronauts from Earth landed on the Moon, they had to wear spacesuits and take air along to breathe. Their spacesuits also protected them from the intense heat and cold here. Where the sun shines, it gets really hot as an oven. But in the shade, it gets cold. Colder than the coldest day at the coldest place on Earth.
Warning! Warning! Temperature alarm! The side of the rocket in the sunlight is too hot, and the side of the rocket in the shade is too cold.
Oh my! Oh, my pages are freezing and roasting at the same time. I feel like a frozen pepperoni pizza. Now that's truly an appalling state to be in. I insist we leave.
Oh, come on. Let's just stay a little longer. There's a lot of interesting things on the moon. There's moon rocks, big craters, mountains, and moonquakes.
Moonquakes? Quick, prepare for liftoff right now.
Hey, don't you dare try closing me again.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Blast off! We're on our way to the fourth planet.
Ah, yes. Mars, the rusty red planet. Mars is sort of an in-between planet. It is bigger than the Moon, but smaller than the Earth. And unlike the Moon, which has no air, and Earth, which has lots of air, Mars only has a little air.
Captain, we're now closing in on Mars.
Let's just look at Mars from a distance. From here, you can still see mountains, canyons, and craters.
No! Strap on the helmets. Fire the rockets.
Ooh, slow down! Not so fast! Yo! Try to take it easier next time. As you said, our rocket ship is only made out of cardboard.
Oh, it looks like we're flying over a desert.
You're right. Mars is mostly covered with desert. It's a desert planet. But instead of being dry and hot like a desert on Earth, Mars is a dry, cold desert. Now, that big mountain over there is a volcano.
A volcano? Will it erupt?
Not likely, but it is big. It's so big that if we brought it back to Earth, it would cover the entire state of Utah. Mars has a huge canyon called the Mariner Valley, which is much deeper and bigger than the Grand Canyon in Arizona. The Mariner Valley is so long that if we brought it back to Earth, it would stretch across the entire United States.
Let's go outside the rocket and explore.
No, you can't. Don't you remember? You didn't bring any spacesuits. And you definitely need spacesuits to survive on Mars. The air out there is much too thin. And besides, it's very cold out there. Even during the daytime in summer, you would freeze in no time.
Right. Let's stay in the rocket. Why do all the rocks look red and rusty?
It's because they are rusty. The rocks on Mars have iron in them like nails. And just as nails rust on Earth, the iron in the rocks here has also rusted.
So that's why Mars is red.
Mars has some unusual weather. The wind can sometimes blow at nearly 100 miles per hour. These high winds often create dust storms that can cover most of the planet.
Warning, warning, Martian dust storm. Let's get out of here.
We can't leave yet. It says in the book there's a lot more to see. Ice caps and dried up riverbeds.
The dust will wreck the rocket.
Not to mention ruining my pages.
Prepare for liftoff from Mars. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, blast off!
Warning, warning, long trip alert. Over 300 million miles to Jupiter. Activate the transparent, three-dimensional holographic modifier. And watch out for the asteroid belt.
The winds on Mars can really kick up a storm, but if you thought those winds were strong, wait until you see the fifth planet, Jupiter. Jupiter is quite different from the planets we've seen so far. First of all, it's huge. It's the largest planet in the solar system. In fact, it's so big that if it were hollow, more than 1,000 Earths could fit inside. Because Jupiter is so big and made mostly of gas, we call it a gas giant. Mercury, Venus, Earth, and Mars are so small compared to Jupiter, we call them the Rocky Midgets.
You live on a rocky midget.
Yeah? Well, you are a rocky midget.
Hey! Look, we're approaching Jupiter now. Wow, it is huge. And it's covered with clouds. It doesn't look like any of the other planets we've seen so far.
Prepare to land on Jupiter.
No, by Jupiter, we can't land here. We were able to land on the Rocky Midgets because they all have hard ground to land on. But there is no ground on Jupiter. It's just a big ball of gases with thick clouds.
So let's just fly through the clouds of Jupiter.
Fly through the clouds? No. These clouds may look pretty, but they're pushed along by winds that move faster than those in a hurricane on Earth. You see that big red cloud swirling down there? That's called the Great Red Spot. The Great Red Spot is actually a huge storm, a gigantic storm. Sometimes the Great Red Spot becomes so large that all the rocky midgets could fit inside it, with room to spare.
Can we get closer to that big red spot?
Cool, great idea. We can always turn around if it gets too rough. Here we go. Into the clouds of Jupiter. What was that?
Oh, that was just the lightning. The clouds of Jupiter sometimes have lightning. Did I forget to mention it? I'm so sorry. I do, however, recall saying this was a bad idea.
Well, that's just great.
You know, we really should turn around while we still can. As we go deeper into the clouds, the air gets thicker and the temperature goes up. We're in too deep as it is.
Warning! Warning! Lightning warning! High temperature warning! The deeper we go, the hotter it gets. Storm warning! It may already be too late.
Captain, the computer's right. The winds are picking up. I can't pull out of the storm.
Hold on, don't panic. Book, do you have any ideas?
Yes, in situations like this, I always look for the red button.
The red button?
Yes, the red button. You know, the improbable story device that always gets people out of trouble. Look, there it is. Push it, quick!
Now that was intense. It was like a ride on a roller coaster.
Phew, I wasn't sure we were gonna make it.
Wow, that was really brave of you two.
Well, we sure couldn't have done it without you. Thanks, Book.
You're welcome.
Let's see what's next.
Now, this sixth planet is one of my favorites. It's called Saturn. Saturn is a little smaller than Jupiter, but it is still much larger than Earth. The curious thing about Saturn is that even though it is quite big, it is very, very light for its size. In fact, Saturn is like a giant marshmallow.
A giant marshmallow? You're an astronomy book, not a cookbook.
I'm being perfectly serious. If you were to put a marshmallow into a cup of hot chocolate, it would float, wouldn't it? Well, Saturn is so light for its size that if you had a large enough cup of hot chocolate and put Saturn into it, Saturn would float like a marshmallow.
Well, that would certainly be a pretty big cup. What would you call it? The Big Dipper?
Wow, look at Saturn.
Beautiful, isn't it? Saturn is another gas giant like Jupiter. That means that it has no solid ground where we could land. We could fly through the cloud tops of Saturn, but the winds there are even stronger than those of Jupiter. So, if you don't mind, let's not. I don't think my binding can take much more shaking around. However, we can take a closer look at the rings of Saturn. Saturn's rings are made of thousands of tiny pieces of ice and rock, all going around and around the planet. Each piece is just like a tiny moon.
We're about to fly through the rings of Saturn. Hold on, everybody.
What a lovely sight. This is a view of Saturn you can't see from Earth.
On to the 7th planet. Prepare to fire the rockets.
But we haven't explored the moons of Saturn. They are made of rock and ice. One is light on one side and dark on the other. And there's even one moon that has air.
The air on that moon is so cold, it would freeze you from the inside out. And we really should be moving along. I am due back at the library tomorrow, you know.
Fire the rockets!
We're traveling through the outer reaches of the solar system now. Beyond Jupiter and Saturn are two planets that are nearly twins, Uranus and Neptune. They are both gas giants, but neither one is quite as large as Jupiter or Saturn. But like all the gas giants, these two are still much larger than Earth. Let's look at Uranus first. The curious thing about Uranus is that it is tipped over on its side. Uranus also has a small set of rings. These rings are not as big or bright as the rings of Saturn. Neptune is the 8th planet and last of the gas giants. Neptune, like the other gas giants, has no solid ground. You could not land our rocket on Uranus or Neptune.
Let's see what's next.
But there's so much more to see here at Neptune. Its largest moon orbits Neptune backwards. And Neptune has rings too, and
We're running out of time. We want to see all the planets, don't we? Fire the rockets. Where's Pluto? I don't see anything.
there it is!
It's truly tiny.
This next planet is small. So far, we have seen that the planets that are close to the sun are small and made out of rocks. And the planets that are far from the sun are big and made out of gases. The rocky midgets are part of the inner solar system, and the gas giants are part of the outer solar system. But now, we've arrived at this strange planet. It's called Pluto. Pluto is small. Pluto is even smaller than Earth's moon.
Can we land on Pluto?
Well, we could, but it's terribly cold down there. Pluto doesn't get much warmth from the sun.
Break out the helmets. Prepare for landing on Pluto.
Awesome! We've landed on Pluto. Whoa! Everything looks frozen. And look! Pluto has a tiny moon. A tiny moon for a tiny planet.
What's that very bright star up there?
That is the sun. We are so far from the sun that it looks as small as the other stars. Pluto doesn't get much warmth from the sun. That's why it's so cold and frozen here.
We're so far from home. I miss Earth. Can we go home now?
To get home, we need to know where Earth is among the planets. Let's see how much you remember. There are two kinds of planets. What do we call the big planets that are far from the sun?
Gas giants.
Correct. Gas giants are far from the sun, and we can't land on them because
They don't have any hard ground.
the gas giants are Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune. And what do we call the small planets that do have hard ground where we can land?
Rocky midgets.
Correct again. The rocky midgets are closer to the sun and much smaller than the gas giants. The rocky midgets are...
Mercury, Venus, Earth, and Mars.
Let's see if you can remember one important thing about each of the planets. Let's start with the rocky midgets.
Mercury has the shortest year.
Venus is the hottest planet.
Earth is the planet full of life.
It's the planet we live on.
Mars is a cold red desert.
Let's see what you remember about the gas giants.
Jupiter is the biggest planet in the solar system.
Saturn has beautiful rings around it.
Uranus lies on its side, and it has rings too.
Neptune is the last of the gas giants.
And Pluto is the planet we've landed on. Pluto has a tiny moon for a tiny planet.
That was very good. But what about the sun?
The sun isn't a planet. The sun is a star.
The sun is the star we know best.
And from here on Pluto, the sun looks as small as the other stars. Would you like to visit another star?
We promised Mom we'd only go as far as the planets. Besides, we're all out of gummy bears and we're down to our last balloon. We should be heading back.
I'm freezing. My feet are getting cold. I want to go home.
Warning, warning, cold feet alarm. Prepare for blast off from Pluto, and let's return to Earth.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, blast off!
Wake up, kids. It's time to get up. How was your trip through outer space?
Oh, Mom, Dad, it was great!
We got to land on Venus and see a desert on Mars.
And we flew through the clouds of Jupiter.
And the rings of Saturn.
It sounds like you two had quite a trip. How were you able to visit all those planets with just a cardboard rocket?
I don't know. I think it's a secret.
A secret? Well, someday you'll have to tell us what that secret is.
But right now, breakfast is almost ready. Come on into the kitchen.
You know, we never did find out what Book's secret was. Do you think it was all a dream?
I don't know. It could have been.
Excuse me. Could you please open the book?
Book. So our trip wasn't a dream. But tell us, what was the secret? How were we able to go to all the planets?
That's the secret of the cardboard rocket. You were able to travel to all the planets because you used your imaginations. Having a book like me helped, of course. Books are a great help for the imagination. Now that you know the secret, you can use books and your imagination to travel anywhere.
Wow, thanks, Book. We'll take you back to the library so other kids can visit the planets too.
You're right. It's time to be getting back, and I can use some rest.
Goodbye, Book.
And thanks.
We'll miss you.
Goodbye, kids, and don't worry. You can always visit me at the library.